So you're at a crossroads in your relationship. You're about to have sex, or you've had sex, but there's this issue. You've been watching my videos and learning a ton of stuff, a ton of great information, and you're trying to get the courage to communicate with your partner about sex and talk about these things because you know from watching me and being a subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, you can go ahead and do that now and just get that out of the way. You know that talking about sex and communicating about sex is the best way to have better sex and get to know your partner and what they want and what they don't want, and just kind of get rid of insecurities and make sure you and your partner are on the same page and there's no guesswork, and then you can just be immersed and totally engaged in the experience, and then you and your partner are going to have the most amazing, incredible sex of all time, and you're welcome. But you're at this point where I don't know if I could talk to my partner about this. It might be awkward, it might be weird. So this is the last resort. So if you can't build up the courage to talk about sex before having sex, then the next best thing you can do is talk about sex after you've had sex the first time. And I mean like right after, or the first couple times, if that happens to be the case with you because you're just out of courage, or you're just banging all day and there's no time for talking, right? Talking about sex after sex is the next best thing. Obviously, you should try to talk about sex before you've had it. That way you can kind of clear the air and set up the expectations before any of the dirty deed is done. That way, like I said, you are able to kind of remove any guesswork, remove any insecurities, be more connected to you and your partner, and just kind of go at it knowing what your partner wants, and then they know what you want, and then it's awesome. The reason talking about sex after you've had sex, and I mean like right after, like you just had sex and you're like laying in bed and cuddling, that moment after you do that and have sex is an incredible time to bond with your partner, to really cement your relationship and your connection, which will strengthen sex down the road. So use that opportunity, that kind of built-in biological moment in time where you are kind of building this connection. You're releasing so many hormones that are connecting you to that person, and it's going to make future sex so much better because of it. Use that moment to explore and say, what did you like? And you can start it off by saying what you like, what was amazing, and then leave it open for them to express what they liked and what they want more in sex and what you want more in sex, and say, remember when that thing happened? I loved that and I want more of that. And then you can say, what about you? What did you really like about it? If your partner is still afraid to communicate about sex in this time frame, which they could well be, it happens. Sex is a hard thing for a lot of people to talk about because it has such a kind of dirty connotation in society, and it's kind of become this really private thing where we're not allowed to tell anyone about it or talk about it at all, even with someone you're having sex with, which doesn't quite make sense to me if you think about it, but it's just kind of where we are in society right now. If someone is hesitant to talk about sex, even after you've had sex, even after you've kind of bonded over that experience, then just take the opportunity more and more and kind of get your partner more and more comfortable with the idea of talking about sex. If they see that you're comfortable with it and you make it not a big deal, and you also kind of portray that you're not going to judge them for what they say about it, you're coming in from the angle of open-mindedness and a willingness to improve and a willingness to get to know the other person so that you can provide amazing sexual experiences to them. As long as you illustrate these things and you kind of chip away and keep talking about sex and keep it on their mind, they will open up to you. I have had people come to me asking for help, and I tell them to communicate, and they just don't want to at all. But eventually, if you work on it and you kind of create the comfortable environment for them to express themselves, which you should during sex, because that is how you will create the best sexual experiences. That goes for you and your partner. The more comfortable you are, the more able you are to be turned on and aroused and just in the moment and feel amazing. So that goes for the communication aspect too. So the more you can kind of build it up and kind of broach the topic and go over it, and after sex is a great opportunity to do this because your partner will be more open and more receptive to this kind of talk. It will happen eventually, trust me. And your sex life will improve and will be better for it. And your partner will be thanking you and wondering why they haven't opened up earlier. Listen, I know it's a trust thing and relationships require trust, and you need to kind of build that trust in order to gain it. For most people don't go into relationships blindly trusting everything the other person says if they don't know them. And so that is why communication is so important and can really break down the walls of insecurity and mistrust and allow your partner to experience amazing sex that is free from their brain holding them back because they are feeling insecure. And it's just a shame that people do it, but they do it. And it is our job as amazing sexual masters and sexual partners to be the person to tear down those walls and get to know your partner, have them express themselves, and provide the best sexual experiences you possibly can for your partner. That is the goal of my YouTube channel and these videos, is to help you be able to provide that to your partner. Like I said before, you will meet people, you will have sexual partners that are resistant to talking about sex. I know it takes courage to talk about these things. It took a lot of courage for me to start talking about these things. When I have done it and when I have had people that I've helped do it, it changes their entire perspective of sex. It changes their entire sex lives. It's fun. It's more fun to be free and open during sex with your partner and have nothing to hide than to be in your head the whole time thinking that you can't show this certain side of yourself or your certain sexual desires because you're afraid of what it might do. It might make this person hate you or never want to be with you or all these kind of things. So communication is critically important. If you cannot muster the courage to communicate before you've had sex with someone, then you have that window right after you've had sex. Right in that moment, you're still in bed. That is your time to express how you feel and open it up for your partner to express how they feel and tell you what they want and like during sex. And that's cool because it'll make your sex so much better. The final thing I will say is do not force your partner to express these things if they are extremely uncomfortable. If you broach the topic and you bring up the topic of sex and your partner really does not want to say anything about it, then leave it for then and move on and bring it up another time. Because if you are going in there and you are forcing your partner to express their thoughts and ideas and all these kind of things, it could be a bad thing. It could lead to them not liking you or feeling uncomfortable in the realm of sex, and we don't want that. We want the opposite. We want your partner to feel comfortable with you during sex. So don't make the conversation uncomfortable and force your partner to express themselves if they don't feel like they can or should or whatever they are going through in that moment. Like I said, the more you bring it up and the more you kind of express that you're non-judgmental, you're open-minded, and you're doing this from the perspective that you want to help them and you want to improve your sex life and your relationship together, the more you can do that, the better it will be and the more likely they will open up to you in the future. But don't press it too hard. Be mindful, be tactful. It's hard for me to tell you in a video how to do it exactly step by step. That kind of takes practice. Trust me, I have done it poorly in the past and it sucks. It's a learning experience. Just like everything in sex is, it is a learning experience. If you know the kind of principle behind it and the idea behind it, then hopefully you can implement it into your real life and improve your sex because of it. So that is my goal with this video. Like I said, it's different with everyone and you kind of have to do that for yourself. Unfortunately, I wish I could just give this non-nuanced step-by-step guide, but people are different, people are unique, you are unique, your partner is going to be unique, their needs and wants and desires and their fears and insecurities are going to be completely individualized to them, and so therefore the best I can say is just keep bringing up the topic, not in a forceful way. be non-judgmental, be open-minded, come from the angle of improvement of your relationship and your sex, and eventually they should open up to you. That is all I have to say about that. Of course, communicate before you have sex. That is the best method, but if it doesn't happen that way, or you're already with someone sexually and you haven't talked about sex yet, and you feel like you can't do it before sex, then do it in the moment right after sex. That will be the best opportunity when they are most open, feeling good, feeling great, and receptive to your comments. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. It helps me out. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, ask me any questions about sex, and I will be there in the comments to help you out in the best way I can. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.